Alright guys, today I'm going to show you snare setup. I have built a nice little setup with my snares. It provides you a trigger mechanism along with your loop. Normally when you set up your snares, you set up your line, you have your anchor point, and then you go over to your snare loop. There's different ways to set up. You can do a free snare where there's no snap to it, where as soon as an animal comes in, it basically tangles them up and then chokes them out. What this does is will actually hang them. I have set up, I don't have a spring branch set up, so I've got a spring mechanism set up here in the tree along with my anchoring. Well, my line comes down, and what you do is if you set this up near a tree on your trail, I don't have my actual snare loop set up, but wherever your line comes down where you can hide this, you'll take your hatchet or knife and you cut an upward notch into your tree. Now with your spring mechanism, this is my own design. The parts I've done, less than $15 for 2 sets of snares. You know how they work, you've built them, you can set them to the length that you want. It seems like a better deal than some of them on the internet. You can buy these snares from these survival sites. You don't exactly know what you're getting. Some are good, some are bad. I just found it was best to learn my own and build my own. So this actually has decent tension. You can see it's still wobbly, not a lot of tension. Got my spring mechanism. Now when the animal would actually hit the snare line and trip it, depending on how much tension you have, it will actually grab, cinch the knot down. Now, I'm going to show you a little close-up of my hook mechanism. You take a standard L bracket, and this one's not set up properly. You set up an L bracket. I had to adjust it. It's been a while since I made them. Okay. You'll take an L bracket, and on one arm of the L bracket, you'll drill a hole the size of your line. So wherever your loop is going to be, which let me unfold this here. Talk about preparation on a video. Okay. This is my anchoring loop. Okay. Okay. Here's the snare loop. Okay, real easy to set up. I'm using 1/16 steel cable. You can get this at Lowe's for about 14 cents a foot. They have the little package that has the ferrules on it. Basically, you feed it through to make your loop around your old wire, and you just squeeze it tight with the pliers. And if you do it right, squeeze it in, it will hold. I mean, this is great for squirrels, rabbits. You could probably do foxes. I've gone with the 1/16 line all the way up to coyotes. Okay, so there's your loop. Now coming up from your loop, so this is the way your anchor point is going to be. Okay, so you set it up like that. So the flat edge that you don't do anything with is where your line to your loop comes out. Okay, now at this, you drill a hole that's just the same size as your line. Okay, you feed your line through however long you want your snare to be from your trigger. You tie a loop and you push this through. That creates a stop. Now where that hole is for your other screw, you bend this up till it's almost a J pattern. And what this does is when you take this end which I have a loop and a carabiner. This will loop around and be your anchor point, okay? That's so you can hook it, wrap it around the logs as many times as you need to shorten or lengthen the rope, okay? But this end of it, when this hooks in the notch, this line is going to create tension on it. So when this pulls, it triggers. It's really simple. It's really easy to use. And here I'm going to show it set up. I have, like I said, here's my notch. Here's that trigger, okay? Here's the side that goes out to my loop. There's what goes up to the spring, okay? There's the J-bar. Now what you do, when you bring it down, and when you set these, you would have a lot more tension. I think I broke my little notch. Okay. So you would take this, hook it in the notch, okay? Now you see it's under tension. As long as this doesn't get pulled on, that's hooked and it holds. Now when this side you set up your snare loop, this is set up, this one is set with a traditional snare loop, okay? No locks, no anything like that. I built two types. This is one that I started using when I was younger. It's a fold over loop. So I can hook this loop when they come in here and they start going through. And of course with the tension, it'll cinch up and it actually locks it in. Hopefully my video's been somewhat informative today. I know I kind of carry on when I talk. Sometimes I ramble on. But this very simple trigger mechanism has worked for me time and time again. You see how easy that is to set? You don't have to look for anything natural. It's all basically a one piece, from your anchor loop all the way down to your snare loop.